What is vibing? This is Vish, and today I will be responding to Sadhguru's video on what it means to really be sitting with me. I'm a meditation coach and have guided hundreds of people on their meditation journeys. If you have any questions as to how to start, either comment down below or message me on Instagram at VishVibez. Sadhguru is a yogi, mystic, and visionary who is enlightening the world. He has had a profound impact on the spiritual journey of the self. And for that, I'm truly grateful. This is going to be an interesting video because I actually have seen Sadhguru in person just recently, in fact, about 2 weeks ago. And it was for a Sadhguru Darshan event, and he was maybe at most 8 feet away. So it was really cool to see him live and get the vibe in presence from him. This is going to be interesting because the self has always had a take as to what it meant in terms of the receiving end of his nuggets of wisdom. Let's see what he has to say in terms of how he wants us to receive. Let's get right into the video.
I have read in a book that those who are sitting with you, you will give liberation or good life. I see that it kills self-striving, it creates dependency. Why you should decide about me or anything? I should decide everything about me.
It's okay.
So I read in a book that so it means if I'm sitting with you means I have to follow you.
No. No. I said only if you sit with me.
So it creates dependency. It is means I'm dependent. I'm not striving.
You'll pay for it. If you're not striving, you'll pay for it. There's a fee. If you don't strive, one will pay, isn't it? In anything, in any aspect. Whether you're studying for an examination, or you're striving to improve your career, or you're doing business, or you're pursuing spiritual process, if there is no striving, there is a there is a fee for it, isn't it?
Okay, I real quickly have to shout out the question person. He seemed very nervous and asking someone who has a huge following and is usually looked up upon by a lot of people. Any question in general can be very nerve-wracking, so I do have to applaud him for getting the courage to ask him the question, especially a question that is very different than the typical questions that are asked to Sadhguru.
No? Is there or is there not? There is always. Even if you get married, you have to strive every day to make it work, otherwise it won't work. I'm saying it doesn't matter which aspect of life, if there is no striving, you pay. I understand what you're trying to ask, but that's a very simplistic process. I'm saying if you really sit with me, I didn't mean if you sit on the grass out there, this will happen. I said when you really sit with me. The very fact that you're asking the question, obviously you're not sitting with me, you're sitting by yourself. Sitting with me is a different aspect. If you really sit with me, yes. After that, no striving. But you will not become lethargic, for sure. It will just become a natural process for you to be like that. There are many people here for whom good…
Okay, real quickly, and just kind of random, I just have to point out how beautifully and ornate his dressing is, as well as just the overall vibe from the environment, whether it's a flower to his right, the copper containers, the colors of his dress, everything seems very vibey.
Getting up in the morning and doing morning 5:30 sadhana is not a striving. There are some who are struggling and…
So I'm a bit confused because Sadhguru did mention earlier how we must all strive for certain things, but now he's talking about how you're only going to strive for things that you don't want to do, and how people that, for example, wake up at 5:30 every day to meditate, how a lot of them just do it naturally without much effort. So let's find out a bit more about what he truly means.
And this is the only place you want to go. There is no striving, simply you go, you know. There's no struggle and striving in that. That's why I said it's up to you, whether you want to go to your destination joyfully or kicking and crying, it's up to you. You can decide. But if you really sit with me, if you really sit with me means you got connected with me in some way energetically, then you can't go anywhere, you'll only go in one direction. You do this, that, whatever you do circus and go, or you go without circus, it's up to you. But that's if you really sit with me, not if you sit on the grasshopper there.
Wow, that was a very interesting video. The question itself was interesting too. I do have to again applaud the guy that asked the question because it did seem like he was nervous. And I can see what he means too, because when you get connected with someone and you're essentially always with someone, it can be a dependency that is formed, and that really just forms, to be honest, when there is an attachment being made. And so it's important to understand that there's a difference between attachment and connection. We are all one, we are all connected. Attachment is a choice of the psychological mind. Once we identify with something that we are not, that is where the attachment is being made. And that's what leads to dependency and this whole toxic cycle. With Sadhguru, what he's really just talking about is establishing the connection. And what the self has learned is that the connection that's being established isn't something that's new and profound, and as he's mentioned in other videos, it's almost like a divine connection. Not to say that he's godly or he's a god, but it's a sacred connection that's established. And how the self views this is that we're all openly connected. However, we tend to be very fogged and clouded by societal talks and all these karmic activities that lead to all sorts of attachment. And as a result, the connections become hazy. And as Sadhguru talks about it, he calls it the TV analogy, right? Back in the day, there would be this antenna in the TV, and you could receive anything in the world, right, with regards to the channel, if it was pointed in the right direction. And so what's happening now is we all have antennas to receive, but it's either bent or just pointed in the wrong direction. And all he just means by sitting with him is getting the antenna in that one direction with him and having the radio or TV channel always on with him. Now, I'm sure y'all might be a bit confused about if he's really gonna be there with you and what that truly means. The self doesn't know the detail behind that because the self has not experienced it, and so the self will have to give you the Sadhguru answer of, I don't know. But it is an interesting thing, and to answer how you get that connection with him and how you sit with him, it's all about initiation. And to get initiated, you have to participate in one of his programs, whether it's the Inner Engineering Completion Program, Shunya, BSP, there's all sorts of programs. Once you finish the program, you will get initiated and almost consecrated, where that connection becomes secure. I will be making another video after the self gets initiated into the Shambhavi Mahamudra of meditation. And until then, take it joyfully, stay conscious, and make it a great day.